Battlefield 6's open beta is starting today. I've been playing the closed version of it. It's been super fun. Battlefield 6, in my opinion, is off to a great start. However, we have to discuss the problems because this is the beta. We're supposed to be collecting feedback, right, to improve the game. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Battlefield 6's problem areas. I have a massive list in front of me that I helped gather during my stream today. By the way, thank you guys so much for the insane support on the stream. I hit 2,200 average viewers today with a peak of like 4,000 organically. Just like I hit the live button and that's actually how many people showed up. So thank you guys so much for all the support. Absolutely insane. Let's start going over all these problem areas. If you want to follow Battlefield 6, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you to everyone that's been doing that. Hit that like button as well, and of course, comment down below your biggest problem areas, and maybe, hopefully, somehow, somebody at DICE will see this. Alright, I have this list in no particular order. I was just rattling off things that were being mentioned to me and that I was thinking of. So the first thing I have is time to kill up close. I think it's just a little bit too fast. That needs to be dialed back. We already know about that. But also the time to death, right? It feels like you're dying in one bullet a lot, and you sometimes die around corners. That needs to be addressed for sure. Some people refer to that as super bulleting, or like dying to a super bullet, dying in one frame. So that definitely needs to be addressed. This next thing I'm pretty sure was already talked about, and it might be confirmed that it's being removed. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comment section, but Engineer right now in this beta gets double launchers. It can have a Stinger and a rocket launcher, right? An RPG. That is broken. You should not be able to do that. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they already confirmed it's being removed somewhere, but just in case it isn't being removed, they need to make sure that Engineer cannot have double launcher. The next thing was really annoying me today, honestly. Footsteps. Footstep audio, at least in the larger modes like Breakthrough and Conquest, is just really few and far between. I can hear it a lot better in smaller game modes like Domination, right, where there isn't a lot of stuff going on, but even then, it's a little iffy. I have been snuck up on people like you wouldn't even believe. A guy's right next to me, never heard a thing, tried every single audio mix, it doesn't help, so I would love to see an improvement on the footstep audio. Another thing that was annoying me during my play session today was this assault gadget called the incendiary grenade launcher. I think it's called thermobaric grenade launcher. If you use this thing right now, you're a piece of shit, okay? Because this incendiary grenade launcher, when it hits you, it basically stun locks you. It literally, like League of Legends, roots you to the ground. You can't move while it's burning you. It is horrible. If you're going to have an incendiary grenade launcher in the game, which, by the way, that's questionable in its own right, but if they absolutely insist on keeping this in the game, it cannot stun lock you and, like, basically glue you to the ground. The next few things have to do with sniping. The first one is pretty obvious. The sniper glint is too big. We already got confirmation that that is changing. But in my opinion, after playing with snipers and playing against snipers a lot, the snipers in Battlefield 6 need the sweet spot removed. It is simply too freaking good, man. It is a brain-dead mechanic. I can't tell you how many times I have gotten accidental kills, and I can't tell you how many times I have been accidentally sweet spotted. I truly don't believe the sweet spot mechanic is a good mechanic in general, but it is certainly not a good mechanic when suppression doesn't affect sniper accuracy. Maybe if they're going to keep the sweet spot in the game, they would make suppression affect sniper accuracy only. That is another route they could take, but it is very clear to me after I think about 22 hours of gameplay, the sniper sweet spot needs to go. This next thing I'm not entirely sure about, but in my opinion, the RPG's velocity might be a little bit too fast. Again, I need to wait to see actual statistics on just how fast the velocity is, but to me it feels quite easy to hit on a consistent basis, even from pretty far away, so maybe the velocity's a little bit too fast. These next two things have to do with vehicles. Number one, air vehicle physics suck. I think they're reusing some of the physics from 2042. The physics just suck. They need to be completely redone. On top of the air vehicles needing a complete rebalance. Right now, jets are insta-killing helicopters, and helicopters are boats, and they feel like shit to fly. Tanks have some problem areas as well. In my opinion, they just feel a little too slow and fat. I think it has something to do with the acceleration. Obviously, I don't want tanks that are moving at the speed of freaking light or anything. I would like tanks to feel more akin to Battlefield 4. I think that was undoubtedly the best they've ever felt. And on top of that, I also feel like maybe the tank splash damage is just a little bit too much, particularly not on the NBT, but on the infantry fighting vehicle, the one with the auto cannon. The splash damage can be pretty crazy on that thing. Next up is a huge problem, and maybe one of the biggest problems in the game for me right now, visibility. Oh my god, the visibility of this game sometimes, man. First of all, indoor areas can be too dark sometimes. I have straight up just ran past people that are standing in a dark corner, and I had no idea they were there. But what is even more frustrating about the visibility of this game is it's just way too bright sometimes, especially if you play Siege of Cairo and you're trying to look outside from being inside of a building. Combine this with the suppression blur that is applied to your screen, and hey, good luck seeing anything. And one thing that I really want to make sure I mention here is weapon sight or weapon reticle illumination. The lack of illumination on these sights makes it super difficult to see them when you're aiming in bright areas. I have completely lost my sight sometimes, and I have died because of it, and this is super easy to fix. And the last thing I'll mention about the weapon reticles is I want to change the color of them, right? I would love to see them add the option from Battlefield 4 where you can adjust your sight's illumination on top of changing the color of it. I think, you know, the options menus have a ton of options anyway. You might as well just add that one. And I suppose while I'm on the topic of the settings menu, I'll just get this out of the way. The settings menus in this game need a lot of work and consolidation. I just feel like they're all over the place. I feel like they're jumbled together and some menus are redundant. I feel like it could be better organized. Now, jumping back to some Assault class feedback, and I'm sure some of you know where I'm going with this. Number one, this is not particularly pertaining to the Assault class, but the Assault class is prevalent with this. Shotguns need to be nerfed in this game. Okay, shotguns are overpowered, and that's all I'm going to say. It should be fairly obvious to anyone that has played the beta so far. Shotguns are really fucking annoying. Now, the Assault class stuff has to do with the weapon sling. If they aren't going to remove the weapon sling, which allows the Assault class to have dual primary weapons, they should absolutely disable the shotgun from being equipped via the weapon sling. I do not want to see a guy run around with an AR and a shotgun or an AR and a DMR ever again. I personally feel as though double primary weapons is just kind of cheap and it isn't Battlefield. Yeah, I'm going to take the Reddit stance here. Double primaries isn't Battlefield. How about that, guys? I'm Reddit's best friend now. Touching on some game mode feedback here, Breakthrough on Liberation Peak is trash. The first sector, you get spawn trapped in a lot. There's a shit ton of sniping. These sectors just don't feel really friendly or great to play in. They feel very congested sometimes, particularly the first and fourth sector where you're running up the mountain and there's just a shit ton of snipers again looking at you, and it's just very difficult to make up any sort of ground. So Breakthrough on Liberation Peak in particular needs quite a lot of sector reworking in my opinion. Some very small movement stuff here. Some of you might have noticed that while you're aiming down sights, if you walk over a small object, it might fling you in the air. And on top of that, it messes with your ADS sway. It can actually get you killed. So that needs to be fixed. The next thing I'm going to mention here is probably super relevant to a lot of people watching this video. The performance of this game, in my opinion, is really bad. I'm aware it's a beta. Yes, they're most likely going to try to optimize it, right? I don't believe there was a beta driver for NVIDIA cards, so perhaps that is tying into it. But in general, the performance of this game is lackluster, in my opinion. I have an extremely expensive computer. I have a 4090 and a 9800 X3D, and I'm getting, I'd say, 200 average FPS, which, don't get me wrong, that is absolutely playable. However, it's lower than I would like to see. I think I get somewhere along the lines of 340 plus FPS on Battlefield 2042, and I'm sure a lot of other people are experiencing the same thing, where going from Battlefield 2042, there is a massive performance decrease playing Battlefield 6. So I would love to see some performance optimization. Now onto some recon class feedback. Oh my goodness, I said this in so many previous videos, even before I told you guys I played Battlefield 6. The Recon's signature gadget cannot be the tug's motion sensor, dude. They are everywhere, and they don't make a sound that is easily recognizable or loud enough. So what ends up happening is, nobody fucking destroys them. I can't tell you how many times I've been playing the game, and I'm wondering why people know exactly where I am all the time, and I look around, and there's a random tugs in the middle of an objective or tucked in a corner that nobody shot. So I would love to see DICE reconsider what signature gadget is available to the Recon class, and it's very difficult in that regard, right? Because a lot of Recon's gadgets are simply too good to be guaranteed just by playing Recon. A lot of them are good enough to where I feel as though you need to pick them in order to actually use them. And relevant to the Recon class right now, but perhaps not relevant on release, the spawn beacon is too small, the actual physical model, and I don't believe it makes, again, a loud enough sound. There were times where I just consistently ran past spawn beacons. I would like to see the size of them increased. Now some feedback regarding my experience fighting against tanks in this game and noticing the repair rate. Now, I also repaired some tanks. I repaired my friend Baranox while playing Breakthrough today. The repair rate for tanks and vehicles in general might be a little bit too fast. I'm talking like maybe it's 10 to 15% too fast. It felt extremely effective. Now, I am aware tanks and vehicles are squishier in this game, which means RPGs and all that other stuff deals more damage to the tanks. So yes, you do probably need a faster repair rate in order to counter that. But I still felt it might be just a little bit too fast. Now, coming to right at the end of this list here, but these things are very, very important as well. The ADS sway while jumping / landing after a jump, you guys may have noticed, it's just trash. It really is just not well done, and the animation is why. I think the animation and the design of the ADS sway is just not very well executed, and I feel as though they should take cues from Battlefield 3 and 4 in that regard. The way it worked in those games is after landing while ADS'd, you would have your weapon basically sway all the way down to the bottom, and then it would come and recenter itself. Whereas in Battlefield 2042, your gun just kind of flings all over the place, and it just comes off as a really lazy way to penalize jump peeking, which, by the way, is not strong at all in this game. So I would love to see a full rework on the ADS sway animation. I'm not saying to get rid of it, I would just like to see it executed in a more acceptable manner that makes more sense. And the final thing I have on this list, which I just added during this voiceover, dealing damage to vehicles, in my opinion, isn't very clear. Vehicle health in this game, I think, is based off of a 1000 HP health pool, and I shoot RPGs at tanks, right, and it says, damage dealt, 297. Now, I understand how much damage I just did to that tank. However, I would prefer to see a percentage damage shown on your screen. So, for instance, let's just say RPGs deal 20% damage to tanks if you hit them in the front. This would mean if you hit a tank with an RPG in the front, it would show you did 20% damage to the tank. I think that would be more readable for players, and I would prefer that personally. So that's going to do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me know your personal Battlefield 6 beta problem areas in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video and want to follow more Battlefield 6 content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be pumping out a lot more videos where this came from, and of course I'm streaming every single day at twitch.tv/enders and this YouTube channel. First link in the description. Join the Discord and follow me on Twitter as well. And of course, be sure to hit that like button on this video. It really helps the channel out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.
Oh, that visibility, man, when you come out of a doorway, it's so insane.
Seeing God.
Yes, like literally. It started flying, that was pretty cool.
Calendars.